Day 7, discovery calls, the closing Bible, the art of asking the right questions. This is it. If I was going to teach anything to any salesperson ever, apart from mindset, the number one thing you need is mindset, without doubt. But the number one sales focus thing that I would teach is this. Is about the discovery call. And the discovery call is a 60-minute, usually 45 to 60-minute call, where you discover their pains, their desires, their truths. And it comes down to the art of asking the right questions. Great questions get great answers. Great answers become ammunition that you can fucking slam into the clip, lock and load it and bang it off. If you get the right information from people, that just weaves into everything else that you do. Objections, yeah, great. Pitch, yeah, great. I barely objection handle and I barely pitch. I just do a fucking diligent discovery. So, without any further ado, yesterday, the setting. Today, we're moving on to the closing. Fucking deals. Discovery call. Because most sales calls fail before they even get to the pitch. This is why I'm pushing it. Because you ask the fucking wrong questions. What I do with my community is I'm like, the script isn't there as a check as a tick box exercise. The script is there for you to fucking get some information. So what I've done in our scripts, I've added like what information you need at each point of the script. You need to find out X because Y. Because otherwise you're just going through this and a monkey can read a script. You've got to dig. You've got to dig. Anyway, I know I keep on banging the same drum, but it really is the foundation of every close. If you do this right, the pitch sells itself. If you do it wrong, nothing will fucking come to save you. So today, all I want to do is show you how to ask questions to make people open up, not shut down. And I guarantee you do this properly, you don't have to pitch and you get objectionless closes. Because people have their aha moment, their moment of realization where they're like, fuck, I cannot continue in my current trend. And this is like when you know when you need to close, you'll feel that. You'll be like, ooh, this is where I close them. That energy change. You're in the pocket. You're like, oof, oof, oof. They're ready to fucking pay. They're ready to fucking commit to something. They're ready to fucking go all in. And that's when you know. And that's when you know. But it begins with a mindset shift. Remember, your job isn't to convince people. It's literally to fucking ask and understand them. When you're doing that, you want to be empathetic. You want to understand where they're coming from. That's why I find like when you've got a little bit of life experience or you've watched, some good movies and some good series, and you've taken on like different emotions from different things, that you can actually understand how these people are feeling. You can dig further into it. But like everyone has a different style. But something you shouldn't do is make it an interrogation. You make it an interrogation and it becomes like, this is scared. This is not good. I feel fearful in this energy. Like you need to have empathy and you need to have a direction with it. I always think of sales as like a fucking long corridor with doors all the way down that are open. Your job is to just close the doors. And there's a set path. You shouldn't really deviate too much from the path. You can a little bit, but you've got to come back. You can a little bit, but you've got to come back. And at the end of the day, you're there to find the truth, not force a sale. Most people will make up the decision to purchase with you on their own if you find the truth and you dig into the pain enough. Then they will make a change. If I snapped your leg over my knee, you would make your fucking way to the hospital out of pain. Without a doubt in my mind. So pain is always the strongest motivator. And a good question for that is, are you chasing the cheese or running away from the cat? And usually, I've changed my stance on this a little bit, but usually I ask that so I know which is their primary motivation, whether they're goal-orientated or pain-orientated. And I still like that question because I want to know what really like drives them or like surface level drives them. Because most people say goal. And then it's my job to really like find out what their goals are, but then also lean onto the pain a bit as well, because like not everyone will be pain driven, but like I'm goal driven. Some pain will piss me off a bit, but not too much. I don't want to live in pain. I don't want to live in fear. I want to live like, well, if I'm going to live in fear, it's because my goals are so big, right? So it's just, you've got to be cautious with it, but pain is always the strongest motivator. Let's fucking say that for sure. And don't force it. Don't be desperate. Don't get on your knees like a little bitch. Just fucking let the call run its course and ask great questions. So, the discovery framework. I'm going to go over it fairly swiftly, but starts with the problem. What's causing you issues right now? What's been holding you back recently? You know, you just dig in for information and then you just say why. It's very easily. So you get the problem first. And I see the problem. No one's going to sit on a call with you and they just met you and tell you all of their fucking deepest, darkest secrets. It doesn't happen like that. So you've got level 1, surface level. Where are you at right now in your life? They tell you everything about it, blah, blah, blah. So what's holding you back, or what's wrong right now? It's this. Cool. Level 1. Okay. What do you mean by that? Level 2. Okay. Why does that actually matter? Level 3. Can you unpack that a bit more for me? I don't really follow. 5. Oh, so are you saying, think about it? Why have you let yourself get to this point? Like, just keep on fucking asking why and what it really means to them. And you just get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And when you get lower, imagine it's a needle going into the skin. You're trying to reach the heart. You're trying to fucking get to the heart. If you just go through the fucking skin, yeah, sweet. You go through the subcutaneous fat, sweet. You go through the muscle, sweet. Go past the ribs, sweet. Like, you've got a long way to go to get to the heart, more or less. But like, if you can only go a small fraction every time you ask a great question, you'll start asking better questions much quicker. So, boom. Just keep on asking them. Just pinpoint them. What would a masseuse do? When a masseuse, or a therapist, but let's call it a physiotherapist, like a masseuse to begin with, everyone's had a knot in their back, and they'll massage around it. When they find it, they're like, oh, cool, now I found it. The problem. Found the problem. Cool, let's find the pain. Oh, and you can feel it when it rubs over it. They localize it a bit more. Oh, yeah, I've got the pain. It's the same when you ask these questions. Cool, I'm getting closer to what I think really drives them. And then you just push, and you push, and you push, and you push, and you push. Finally, once you push on that knot for long enough, the muscle fibers, they go from being fucked up to, I'm pretty sure, straighten out so they can recover properly. And it's the same with the mind, and it's the same with trauma, and it's the same with anyone's problems in their life. They want you to push them deep down. They're just waiting for you to uncover them. They're waiting for you to care enough that you're going to get to the point where you really expose them. And it'll be tough for them. They'll feel uncomfortable. Their nervous system will have a fucking anaphylactic shock. But that's where you need to get to, because that builds the gap. The gap in sales is, you're here, you want to go here. If the gap of a puddle is 1 foot wide, it's really easy to jump over. The gap of a puddle is a mile wide, it's really hard to jump over. So the bigger the gap, the wider the puddle, the harder it is, the more help they need. So if you get really back into their fucking deep childhood traumas, you're all the way back here. You're setting the goalpost really fucking wide already. And then all you got to do is set the fucking goals really fucking wide. So pain, goal. Lean into the pain when you need it. Lean into the goal when you need it. The wider the fucking gap, the easier they're going to fucking close, because they know that they can't do it on their own. I've jumped ahead a little bit there because gap is number 4, but I'm just explaining. So problem is number 1. Find out what's wrong. Number 2 is the pain. Why does it actually matter? Number 3 is the vision. What do they want to really do instead? Or goal. Cool. So problem, pain, vision, and that is the gap. What's missing between where they are now and where they want to be? And your questions should walk through this in real time. That's what it should do. Cool. So walk me through what's happening right now with X. Your business not being able to scale. Okay. Why do you think that's been happening? Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. If this stayed the same for the next 6, 12 months, what would that mean for you? Consequence question. Okay, what would an ideal situation look like for you? Oh, well, I'd hope to scale to fucking 250K a month in the next 6, 12, 18 months. Okay, perfect. Like you're just painting a picture. Walk me through what's happening right now. Why do you think that's been happening? If it stayed the same for 6 months, what would that mean? What would an ideal situation look like? I know this is just like glossing over it a little bit, but I'm just trying to get the sort of example flow out. For me, some top tips are to speak slowly. When you speak slowly, people have to listen. It makes it more impactful. Shows that you care, that you're not just. You've always got mates that do that. They just talk show. I still do it sometimes in conversation when I'm excited to talk about something. But in a sales conversation, as soon as you get in, game day, stoic, chill. I don't give a fuck. What I'll do at the start of a sales call is I would always have my chair to the side, like this. Leg over the other leg. I don't know if you can see that, but I like to cross my legs. And then as soon as they come to the call, I'm not even looking at the screen. I'm doing this. They've sat there for 5 seconds. Maybe they said something, maybe they haven't. I'm in control. I'm the authority. I'm fucking facing 10 o'clock. I don't give a fuck. This is what I do on a daily, bruv. It's what I do on a fucking daily. I don't give a fuck. This is what I do on a daily. I'm chilling. I don't give a fuck. And that's how I see it. That's how you open up. You speak slowly. You match whatever energy you think is going to be helpful. But in my mind, you just lead and their energy matches yours. You slow them down. They're high, you fucking bring them down. If they're down, you bring them up. You bring them whether you fucking want them. Use pauses. Silence invites honesty. Something that Hormozy always says is you are like 80% more likely to close a deal if you say if you ask them for the money and you shut the fuck up. A lot of people don't shut the fuck up. Cool. Ready to make the payment? Rock and roll? Fine. Cool. So when you slow down, they end up like speeding up a bit emotionally. They want to be heard. Everyone wants to talk about themselves. Everyone wants to talk about themselves, their lives, their problems, their goals, their solutions, their desires, their business ideas, all this shit. Everyone wants to do it. But no one's really in the space to do it. And then when you got on a sales call, you got someone asking you these great questions like, I finally feel seen. I finally feel heard. Oh my God. Oh, thank you. This is so amazing. So, lean into it. Relax. Slow it down. Chill. I don't give a fuck if you close. That's my energy. Relaxed. Carefree. Nonchalant, if you will. One of the golden rules, which I break. I'm not going to lie, I break it. But it's ask one question at a time and then shut the fuck up. Because you'll be shocked how many people, like how much people will reveal when you just hold space for them. And this is what I found, like, I don't do it as much with men, but actually, no, I do it with men as well. It's like when people are going through a tough time, they don't always need advice. Sometimes they just need to be heard. This is very common in sales. They don't need you to give advice. They don't need to be taught. They just need you to fucking listen. So one question at a time. However, sometimes you can ask a question and you're like, oh, that leads on to a better one. So sometimes I'll deviate a little bit. But as a whole, how does that make you feel? Zip. Why have you been letting it happen for so long? Zip. The only nuance is if I want to add to it. So why do you think that's been, why have you been letting that happen for so long? And sometimes I'll wait a little bit. Because you're the only one who could make it a success or a failure, right? Yeah. So why do you think you've allowed it to go on for so long? So sometimes I'll lather it up. I'll stack it, but I wouldn't. It's unnecessary. Don't talk more than 50% of the call. Don't stack questions as a whole. Don't jump to the pitch. I'd rather do a 45-minute discovery and have a 15-minute pitch and close than skip the discovery. This discovery is there for you to discover everything that you need. Literally imagine a fucking gun. You've got a gun, you take the magazine out. You've got no bullets in the fucking magazine, none in the chamber. Every bit of fucking gold that the prospect says after you ask a great question, you go, put it into the magazine. I'm going to save that for later. Bomb. And your goal is to fill up that clip. One in the chamber, bomb. You're ready to roll. You've got everything that you need to close them because they've given you all of the gold. Okay, and the last thing really is like just not sounding robotic. People say they don't need a script. Everyone needs a script, especially when you're learning. You need a script. But you can read a script without sounding robotic. You just put it in the middle of the screen. You put the fucking meeting just above the script. You don't have to look at them. You can only have them on a small screen. You don't have to fucking stare in their eyes. I don't even look at people on sales calls. I do this because I like to think that my eyes are a sense. So if I can focus all of my attention on one sense, which is hearing, and I don't look at them, I can't touch them, I can't smell them, and I can't taste them. So all of my attention is on the ears. I listen better. And that helps me not to sound so robotic and also more relaxed. You know, I'll chew gum. I'll make a cup of tea. But as a whole, the discovery is about creating like safety, emotional safety. I don't want to get too deep into like the nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, emotional safety, and just like regulation of the body yet. But you want them to feel safe. People only will buy from a place of safety. 100%. And at the end of the day, you're teaching people how to trust you with their problems. Because once they feel understood, they'll want your solution. You never sell the product, you sell the transformation. And you can only do that by making them have full trust and faith in you. So, let's do some homework. Next call you have, record it, play it back, and count how many questions you asked and how long you actually listened. If you spoke more than 50%, you've missed gold. Most of the recording softwares that you can use, Fathom or Fireflies, will record it automatically, and you can see how much you spoke. So that's what I would recommend you do. If you haven't got calls, then do a role play. Do a role play with your mum, with your brother, with your sister. And then do that. That's your homework for next week. And for people who are getting a bit too deep into the salesperson identity, try and reframe yourself as a problem solver, a storyteller, a problem solver, a therapist. These things are a lot more congruent with what you should be doing. I just like being known as a closer because coffee's for closers and all that. But yeah, listen more than you speak. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, because great closers aren't like just slick talking motherfuckers. They're experts at listening. Cool. At the end of the day, you don't need a perfect script. You need genuine curiosity. You need to be able to ask the hard questions, because if you don't, you'll lose the sale. Every fucking time. Discovery is the most important part. Without doubt, I will fight anyone on it. We'll see you at the next lesson, which is, drum roll please, how to pitch without sounding salesy. Interesting. If anyone wants my script, please just comment script and I'll give you my my sales script. What I'll do is I'll probably link it in the description as well, because as much as I think it would be helpful if you just got a script. It can't hurt, can it? So yeah, let me know. And been a pleasure. Day 8 tomorrow, how to pitch without sounding salesy. We'll run that. Excited for it. And this has been Discovery Calls, the art of asking the right questions. Ciao now, brown cow.